Today, the executive director of the hospital launched an appeal to the population on the blockades. She told me she'd been to the government, to the local,
municipal government.
Not only the local governments, but also the emergency situation, local organizations, and they got no answer from them. So they're turning to the population now on the blockades to let the food in for the women and the children.
They're just trying to...
For me, it's tied directly to the land, which is our land, the Mohawks. The Mohawks of Kanesatake. It's our lands, and we're fighting to retain that, but at the same time, we've got to fight to retain the environment that these people want to destroy.
Those properties, I think in the year 1717, I know, I mean, I understand.
With guns in our backs to sit down at that table, to bring in the Canadian Army as peacemakers, is not an act of faith.
King of Army out of there
and built that reserve. Leave that land alone.
Mohawks, then it should be considered an attack on all Aboriginal people in this country.
Some chiefs said they would retaliate against publicly owned facilities that travel through their lands.
Hydroelectric lines crossing most of our communities. There are major highways, arteries running through our communities.
I know where there's dynamites, and I can get them, and I can rig them up, and I can blow them dams right out of the ground.
One Manitoba band is already holding a strategy meeting this weekend.
When it comes down to our land claims, public simply is not going to do us any good. What we need to be able to do is to back up what we're saying.
But there were words of caution.
At the end of the line in northern Ontario. First, a blockade of the main CN tracks by the Long Lake Indian Band. Tracks the natives claim were built across their reserve with little say from the band and not enough compensation from the government.
I don't see it. It's not right.
Until there's further notice, it's going to be at a standstill, I guess.
They have been here since Friday, blocking BC Rail's only line, which runs between North Vancouver and Prince George. The members of the Seton Portage Band say they're here to fight for their land claims and to show solidarity with the Mohawks in Oka, Quebec.
Until it's people in Oka say, they feel safe, they feel comfortable, and they don't feel threatened.
Today, the BC rail yards were almost silent. Passenger trains have been canceled, and freight traffic, the bread and butter of the provincial corporation, has been shut down.
Well, there's no question about it. It's hurting us very badly to the tune of approximately $750,000 a day.
This is the same native group that blocked the rail line 3 weeks ago. That ended when a conciliatory Premier Van der Zalm went to the blockade and asked the natives to work with the government to resolve native land claims. The Premier wouldn't talk about the blockade today, but yesterday he was blunt about how he felt.
Like I say, the land was purchased from them. It was legitimately obtained, no arguments about that. They have no right to block that railway, and we simply can't stand for that.
But so far, that tough talk hasn't budged the Indians, nor has this court injunction ordering their blockade.
It's called the Coalition of Solidarity with Native People. They're upset about the Army's move in Oka over the last couple of days. They want the government to withdraw all troops before resuming talks with the Mohawk. The coalition has been staging regular demonstrations since tensions began July 11th.
Up until a few days ago, this park was virtually empty. Today, about 500